when we were in our 20s and 30s, we were making, let's just say we were making GLP-1s at the perfect rate. Mm-hmm. We didn't have to overeat. We had a perfectly functioning gastrointestinal system. All of our hunger hormones were right on point. Mm-hmm. And if we needed to lose weight, we could go and run a few miles and not eat so much, and it would just fall right off.
Welcome back to another episode of the Charyse Williams Show. Oh my gosh, today you guys are talking all about the root cause hiding in plain sight, how metabolic health drives real healing. And we have a special guest. We have a very special guest, you guys, and then when they introduce you to, and then we're just going to hop right into our conversation because this is such a juicy conversation and such a hot topic. So Dawn Galagan-Rodriguez is a master's prepared nurse. She is a registered nurse and a board certified nurse coach and functional medicine practitioner who helps women over 40 overcome weight loss resistance and restore their health with science-backed, compassionate care. She's known for making complex health topics simple and empowering women to work with their bodies instead of against their bodies. And we love that. So welcome, Dawn. Welcome, welcome. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You are welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. You know, I have guests from all different backgrounds on here, but there's something special when you've got two nurses, two RNs in the room, not an RN and NP, not an RN and an MD, but just two RN, not just, but two powerful RNs. So I just love this, and I love the work that you're doing in this world. Why don't you kind of take us back, kind of tell us where did you start, and then how did you end up here as a functional medicine trained nurse coach?
Well, sure, absolutely. I'll start way at the beginning, even before I became a nurse. I went to college with not really knowing what I wanted to do, and I picked bacteriology and genetics of all things because I loved science all through high school. And so when I finished with that degree, I ended up working in medical research in an allergy and asthma setting with a pediatrician, and I really learned kind of the nuts and bolts about research, how to do research, how to read it, how to analyze it, what does it all mean? And so that was where I really started out as a professional, very young woman at the time. Mm-hmm. But as the years went on, I did that for 4 years. I really decided I wanted more contact with people. So, all the decision-making went on, and I decided to go into nursing. I applied to nursing school, got in, and that's where, the journey really started. After I finished that, I went right into clinical nursing at the bedside, but in the transplant setting, which was absolutely amazing. Truly watching miracles happen every day. That was an amazing experience. Yeah. But quickly after that, I was sort of recruited back into the allergy and asthma space to be a nurse, but also in the research world. So I was crossing over from nursing to research. And that was really a fantastic way to understand more about pharmaceuticals, pharmaceutical testing, pharmaceutical trials, because we did run drug studies with the pharmaceutical companies, but also university studies that were funded by the NIH. So all of that to say, my experience goes way back to my 20s in both nursing and research. I eventually left the field altogether so I could raise my two boys.
I have two boys too.
Yes. They're 22 and 24 now.
Mine are the same age. Oh, wait, no, they're not. I'm so sorry. They're 24 and 26. So very, very close in age. Yeah.
So I honestly, and this might be interesting for some nurses listening, 15 years went by that I was out of nursing. And at some point I realized, I really want to jump back in. And at that time I decided to go into nursing education because I thought it would fit better with my family life. My kids were still needing me around. And I thought education versus bedside nursing for 12 hours a day might fit better. I did a master's in nursing education at that time, became a clinical instructor. So many first year pre-licensure students at the bedside, and it was absolutely rewarding. It eventually brought me back to the bedside myself. I took on a full-time position, brought me back to a stroke setting. And it was truly, coming full circle again, full-time nursing, back in the trenches. And it came to a point where at now that I was a more mature nurse, realizing, where I really was in this system, what kind of role I was really fulfilling.
Yeah.
And it may ring true for a lot of people, a lot of nurses, that you, at some point, you feel that you're peddling a lot of pills.
Yeah.
Covered in a lot of compassion.
Sure.
But the true difference you're making in someone's health might not be very impactful. And so, as much as I love being a nurse and a bedside nurse and making a difference for someone in that moment, I felt like, there could be more I could do.
Yeah.
I then had a cross-country move, so I had to leave my job anyway. At that time, I decided to jump in, and I achieved a board certification in nurse coaching. I did the INCA, Integrative Nurse Coach Academy. And through that organization, I also took a course, functional medicine for nursing. And it just really lit a fire and brought me really to where I am today. And after I moved, started a small coaching business.
Yeah.
And that I really embrace, a holistic angle to bring people back to health.
I love that. And, I think I thank you for sharing your story, because I know so many people can relate to it. Determining how you want to fit nursing into your life, your family life. And then, I think for at least for a lot of my listeners, they've come to that point where they realize, oh, like, is this all? And, I always call it the point where I got a little bit disenfranchised with the current state of healthcare. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're doing like Band-Aids. Like, we're just putting Band-Aids on things. And so your story is very much like mine. When I knew, like, it was almost hurting my heart. I had to pivot into more of a holistic health and holistic health coaching, because I was like dying on the inside, because I was not hoping to heal. And I think that's why most of helping to truly heal. I worked in the ICU, so they're just happy to be alive. Like, the goal is to keep them alive, right? Yes. And so there wasn't a whole lot of room in that moment for holistic health, but what I hear, both of us really saying is getting to the point where we wanted to go deeper with healing, right, and helping people heal on a deeper level, on a deeper level, not just on a surface level. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into this, but truly what we do in a hospital setting is, like you said, you put a Band-Aid on it, get them to a place where they can actually be outside of a hospital.
Yeah.
So that they continue recovering at home, but truly no instructions on how to possibly reverse what's going on. Right. And we know that it's about 85% of the people that enter the hospital are there because of chronic diseases that can be changed.
Absolutely.
Maybe not completely reversed, okay, but we can improve so dramatically.
Absolutely.
With a few tweaks, and we don't offer that.
No. Yeah.
On discharge. It just
no, it's just definitely not offered. So you came to, become a nurse coach very, very similarly to me. And now you specifically work mostly, I should say, with women in their 40s having issues with around perimenopause, menopause, weight gain, that type of thing. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Who you help, how you help them most, and like the fulfillment and the enjoyment that you get from that?
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, most of the women that are attracted to me and come to me they happen to be in that upper 40s and in the 50s. And because when I look back at all the clients I've had, they're pretty much just sitting right there in that age group.
Yep.
And then of course, all of them have the same experiences as we are going into perimenopause and menopause. And it's not that I'm trying to get women that are having issues with menopause to come to me. It just happens to be those women who do. They just fit into that category. And then what comes along with that is usually there's a weight component. So a lot of times someone will come to me, ask me, why can I not lose weight? And so that's really the lens that I just happen to be looking through most of the time. And so, you know, there are so many different reasons for a barrier to weight loss. And I just really try to help them understand where they are with their lifestyle habits, their existing medical issues, the medications and supplements they may or may not be on, and how that is contributing to the stuck place that they're in. Yes. And how truly, one of my favorite things to tell someone is that we really need to get healthy to lose weight, not lose weight to get healthy.
To get healthy. Oh my gosh. Yes. Say that again, Dawn, because it's so true.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. We need to get healthy to lose weight, not the other way around. And of course, it's pervasive in our, you know, social media and popular media that if we're overweight, we're unhealthy. Okay. And I would say that's generally true for most cases. But just trying to lose weight to be healthy can be impossible, because the barrier is not the existence of the fat content. There's something there that's blocking your metabolism from allowing yourself to release it.
Yep. So true. Like you have all these barriers, these undercover, if you will, barriers to losing weight. It's not just a matter of, you know, calories in, calories out, work, you know, cardio, weights. I mean, all those are components, absolutely. But how many, and even those of you who are listening, how many of you cleaned up your diet, you know, you're doing all the things, and yet, you're plateaued, and you're frustrated at this point. Right, because you're doing all the right things. So and so what are some of the things that you've seen? You know, we're talking about metabolic health, but let's go there for a second, and then some of the things that you do with your clients to help them.
Absolutely. So obviously, the very first things I do is really dive in to understand what is their actual lifestyle. Yeah, there are a lot of things that are going to present themselves just by analyzing that. The barriers can almost be picked right out. But on the other hand, sometimes, you know, someone has said, oh my gosh, I'm going to do all the things these experts are telling me. You know, you can go on Instagram and get all the lists. I'm going to increase my protein. I'm going to start lifting weights. I'm going to get 10,000 steps. I'm going to drink all my water and get my electrolytes, make sure I'm sleeping and getting my sunlight. I'm doing it all. And I'm still not making any progress. Yeah. And that's when I will often offer a couple different tests. I do a little bit of functional testing. One is the hair tissue mineral analysis test. Yeah. And that one is probably like the more common one that I've been running recently. I will also do GI map testing if it's really apparent that there's some gut issues. But as we know, you don't even have to have gut symptoms to have gut issues.
Sure. And most people have gut issues and they don't know because they aren't symptomatic. However, it's wreaking havoc on their overall health.
100%. So, 100%. And, you know, we could dive down so many rabbit holes. A lot of women also, you know they have certain conditions. For example, Hashimoto's, right? So we've got hypothyroidism going on, and we've got all these other things going on, and they're still not making any progress. And our conventional methods of handling certain things are just sort of pushing them against a brick wall. So I will often also ask them to have certain tests done with their general practitioner, and then I will try to analyze that with them. And I may have to refer them to a higher level functional practitioner. But, you know, there are certain things that are going on with women in particular, perhaps being on thyroid medicine for years and years and years, but they've never even had a complete thyroid panel done.
It is so
we
true.
just try to get all of the pieces together before we just say, oh, you're not doing this, this, or this. There may be something more metabolic going on. And so the HTMA test can also reveal a lot of different things going on with thyroid, the nervous system, what stage of stress your adrenals might be in, enzyme issues. And so we can really go deep looking at that. And then after we kind of get through that, the nuts and bolts of that, if we've actually done functional testing, I will also talk to so many of my clients now about peptide therapy support.
Yeah. Let's talk about that, because that's huge. And I know peptides right now is kind of a buzzword, but and it is a bit of a buzzword, but I'm like, where has this been? Like, it's like the key that unlocks everything. So let's go there. Let's talk about peptides and what you've seen working with or incorporating peptides with the women that you're supporting.
Yes. Well, I do want to start with this because maybe some listeners might be feeling this way. So I've really only gotten heavy into offering peptides to clients over several months. Prior to that, I'll be quite honest, I was diametrically opposed to peptide use for weight loss.
Yes. And this is so good. This is so good because we've had this conversation. Keep going. This is good.
And it was very, very hard for me to wrap my head around what was going on with peptides as a whole in our population, in our society. So we know we had them FDA approved for type 2 diabetes. Amazing. Let's help people not suffer so badly with type 2 diabetes. Get those blood sugars down. We notice they help people lose weight, so they get FDA approved for obesity. Okay. And then we just start hearing all of these things about people losing weight, like hundreds of pounds, hand over fist. And then muscle is going by the wayside, right? And then people will have to go off the peptide because of side effects or cost. And then we're all going to gain the weight back. And I was like, my head was blowing up going, we are going to, have our civilization go down like a sinking ship. I felt like we were just going to make ourselves so sick.
I felt the same
and
way.
This was truly out of sort of my preconceived opinions and knowledge and my bias. And so there was a point in time when, I had to start listening. And really the reason was twofold, really. One is that when I really stood back and thought, okay, who's coming to me? Women with weight loss issues. What's happening in our, medical establishment right now is the peptides are booming, they're exploding. And if that's where the future of weight loss is going, I needed to understand it. I needed to at least learn about it and open my mind to just figuring out what the craze is.
Yeah.
And then I had a colleague come to me that I had known for a long time that basically revealed that she had been on peptides for some time. And she was just now deciding to tell her followers that she was doing that. And I basically was like doing a double take, like, what?
Yeah.
So then I had to listen. That was another like sign that I had to listen. And she told me her whole story. She's really a picture of health now, but she had, even though she was never very overweight, she had terrible issues with autoimmunity. And she knew that she was extremely insulin resistant. A doctor actually put her on a peptide, even though she was not obese by any stretch. But because of the insulin resistance that she could not shake, they tried a peptide.
Yeah.
And
And I
over
think
time,
I just want to interject something right here. Don't lose your train of thought, but because I just want to point out that what we hear mostly about peptides are weight loss meds, but there are literally hundreds and thousands of peptides for tons of things outside of weight loss and
absolutely.
even insulin resistance for inflammation. You mentioned her and her autoimmunity. You've got longevity. You've got, you know, uh, cognitive
Yes.
improvements.
Yep.
There's
Hair,
peptides
skin,
for
and
this
nails.
hair, skin, and nails. Oh my
Yep.
goodness. So yeah, so I just wanted to just point that out before we continue, because there are peptides that support numerous functions in our bodies.
Absolutely.
And we'll go down that lane in just a second. But yes, finish telling us about, so your colleague, she wasn't really overweight. She was
Not at all. And she's a
insulin
nurse.
resistant
She
though.
basically does what
Yeah.
we do,
Uh-huh.
functional testing and all that, but really handling. And she got into it because she
Mhm.
had to heal herself.
Yes.
And so over the years, this is kind of her story. She ended up weaning down to a microdose
Mhm.
because the higher doses were making her feel terrible. But as she pulled back on it, she was found a sweet spot,
Yeah.
and then it just opened up for her.
Nice.
And she decided, I've got to share this. And then because I was, friends with her and knew about her story, but the peptide angle was totally new part of her story
Yeah.
to me and to all of her followers and the people that she treats.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I even dove deeper. And really I am focusing right now, we're talking about GLP-1s for weight loss, and the word microdose really pertains to the weight loss peptides. And that's where I just let myself understand. And actually, because of the word microdose, it's exactly that. We're taking a tiny dose. And I thought, how could it not be better to take a smaller dose?
Right.
So we don't have these scary, scary side effects that really was what was keeping me away.
Yeah. Same.
Was the muscle loss, the gastroparesis, and all of that. And so, I mean, we could talk about, Charyse, we could talk about this for, days with the research that's coming out.
Yeah.
But it's the microdosing is showing to help support people metabolically to get healthy.
Yeah.
Which is what I think is happening.
Oh, definitely.
It's supporting the basic metabolic support to help the person release the weight.
Yep.
In addition to the reduced hunger and food noise. When you put it all together,
it's like a piece of the puzzle, a missing piece of the puzzle is what I really look at it as. And so, I know you and I have had this discussion, but I think it's really important just to bring it into the room around, because we both are, our perspective of working with people and women in particular is from a holistic health lens. And so how do you, Dawn, kind of reconcile that holistic health piece with the peptide piece, like kind of walk us through that process?
Absolutely. That was a big part of what the resistance I had.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, and there maybe some other your listeners are feeling the same way. I left traditional nursing to try to help people holistically.
Yeah.
And get away from like pharmaceutical after pharmaceutical.
Yeah.
And then when I started to wrap my head around this, like, what am I doing here? How can I reconcile these two sides and not feel like I've jumped teams?
Right.
And I realized that when I really came down to understanding how the peptides really work in the body, it really changed the way I view it as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way I explain that is this: peptides, and we can just talk about GLP-1 specifically, but really all the peptides that we use are something that we have innate in our bodies. So when we were in our 20s and 30s, let's just say we were making GLP-1s at the perfect rate. Mm-hmm. We didn't have to overeat. We had a perfectly functioning gastrointestinal system. All of our hunger hormones were right on point. Mm-hmm. And if we needed to lose weight, we could go and run a few miles and not eat so much, and it would just fall right off.
Yeah.
With life, with stress, with, well, for sure, perimenopause and menopause, but even
Mm-hmm.
earlier than that, starting a family, having the stress of, 9 to 5 job or 2 jobs and raising children or taking care of aging parents. So
Yeah.
we have all of these stresses in our life, or perhaps even trauma events from childhood. We have, rewired some of the processes metabolically in our body.
Yeah.
When we go through all of that, and then even just with age, we start making less of the GLP-1. So now we are down with GLP-1. We're gaining weight because of maybe our poor lifestyles. We have had too much stress. We're not eating right. We're not exercising. We're so stressed at work. So we've gained weight. Now we make less GLP-1. Now we're in almost like a position where it's very hard to eat our way out of that. We can't, it's very hard to just decide you're going to eat clean and start lifting weights and reverse it all because we have so much working against us. Well, it just so happens that we can replace that GLP-1 with an injection. And there are some other formulations now too. We can take it
oral or
in the mouth.
Yeah.
We can replace it, bring it up to a more therapeutic level in our body. And our body actually knows how to use it.
Yeah.
It was something we always had in our body. We have receptors for this peptide. Our receptors know what to do when that attaches. So I like to explain it that we are actually doing something very holistic for ourselves by giving us back something that we need.
Yeah.
And it's very natural, as opposed to a chemical pharmaceutical that's manufactured to cover up a symptom.
Right.
That then also provides 3, 4, or 5 side effects.
Yeah, that part. Okay, so, that part. Right.
This is how I love to explain that this is not your typical pharmaceutical agent.
No. Not at all.
And it is really giving back to yourself something that it needs, and it reminds your metabolism what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And go ahead.
And I will add one other thing because I'm talking to a lot of nurses. It's almost like, how many of you have been giving so many insulin injections, right? We as nurses know what insulin is. We don't think of it. It is a medication, but it's the peptide. Yeah. We're giving that insulin so that the person can get the glucose from the bloodstream into the cell. It's as simple as that. Yeah. And so in its same sense, we're giving ourselves back the GLP-1 that it's been longing for.
Yeah. And it knows what to do with it.
That's what to do with it.
Yeah. Recently heard peptides referred to as messengers. And I'm like, that makes total sense.
Yes.
It makes total sense. So I love the way you explained that, Dawn. So thank you so much for anyone, because as I mentioned to you, I was kind of having, I was just trying to reconcile it. I knew the benefits because I started learning about the benefits. I'm like, well, this makes total sense, not just from a weight loss perspective, but even from a muscle, energy, fat burning perspective, from a, again, longevity, like cellular regeneration perspective, muscle recovery, gut health, gut healing. I'm like, wait a minute, why would I had to take a step back. I'm like, okay, Charyse, wait a minute. Let's look at some things here. We know, and we just talked about this at the very beginning. We know so many people have gut issues that they may not even be aware of, right? But we know this in the onset. So why would you not do so? Of course, it's not a panacea, right? It's not a magic pill or a magic bullet. You absolutely have to do what we know to do, lifestyle wise and everything. But why would you not use this tool, as you mentioned, Dawn? Why would you not use this tool that our body knows what to do with, in combination with the things that you know to do anyway?
Exactly. So, and I've actually said that on some of my own content. After I was really it's just mind blowing. Some of the things that we haven't even mentioned, we're seeing HSCRPs going down.
Yes.
Even before
significantly.
Weight is on. Pardon me?
Even before what? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Even before weight is lost.
Yes. So inflammation is driving inflammation way down. And we also know if your body's inflamed, it's not going to lose weight. Like, our bodies are so smart and so resilient. So it's like, okay, let's get the inflammation down so that the body feels safe enough to release the weight. So
exactly. So we're seeing like true lab values improving,
right.
not just, oh, that person must have been on a GLP-1. I can see they've lost 50 pounds. So many things are happening. The inflammation markers, the blood sugar is going down, hemoglobin A1Cs are going down. So
Yep.
we can see there's proof that it's helping metabolism. And I've actually said, like, I almost would feel irresponsible not to tell people what is available to them in this type of therapy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wholeheartly agree, in fact, and that's why I've literally started becoming obsessed about peptides because of because of all the beautiful things that you just named. Like I said, it's not just, to your point, not just the external. Yes, it's yes, it's great to release excess weight, but when you also see it reflected in your numbers, your inflammatory markers, like if we see an improvement in all of your things internally, that's the win, because that's the health part, right? I mean,
100%.
That's how we know. That's our evidence of, oh, yeah, I actually am getting healthier. My blood, everything is normalizing, and not just normalizing, but becoming in an optimal range instead of just a normal range. So
100%. And actually, I could tell a little bit about my own story. I was not going to go on a peptide. I wanted to just have this in my toolbox to help my clients. But the more I learned, I decided, I'm going to try this and see what happens, because about 3 years ago, I did notice I had some low-level Hashimoto's antibodies, which shocked me because I have no symptoms of hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really strange. It worried me a little bit. And of course, as nurses, we know what can happen if you let that go untreated, or just ignore it. I don't want to be overweight, without energy, and losing my hair. So I brought it to my functional medicine doctors, and it was strange. They didn't really want to touch it with me because I didn't have any symptoms, and I had other things to address.
Yeah.
Nothing major. So I thought, I'm going to try this. I have been on 2 months now. I've released 10 pounds.
You go, girl.
Yeah.
Yay. Congratulations.
And my blood pressure has gone down.
Yeah.
And of course, it's only been 2 months. So in maybe I probably will wait 6 months to get my labs drawn again. I'm going to see my blood sugars, because they were like high, but under pre-diabetic, but just higher than I would like. Were they
trending? Yeah. Were they trending up though?
Yeah. Even though I eat pretty healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm going to be able to recheck all of those things, including my TPO antibodies, and just see, how it really works for me.
Yeah, no, this is so good. And I've seen so many. I actually was just on a webinar. I don't know if you, I was at a webinar with a cardiologist, and he was talking about all the benefits of peptides, and particularly GLP-1s and GLP and GIP from a cardiology perspective. And that really spoke to me because I've, my nursing background is CVICU, CCU, Absolutely. That type of thing. So I've always really been a heart nurse, but the inflammation, right? The relaxing of blood vessels, which of course is causing the decrease in blood pressure, right? Which, I mean, how many people out there do we know that have high blood pressure? Right?
Absolutely.
And so, and I wish he was starting to although he was a cardiologist, he was even starting to delve into the cognitive impact, the impacts it has on our cognitive health, which I was like, whoa, I didn't know that at first. So that was really, really interesting to me as well. So yeah.
Well, that really goes to the whole point of the holistic effect that it's having. It's head to toe. And it's really like kind of blowing my mind, because the every day there's a new article that points to another reason. Now it's being used for fatty liver. Now
he mentioned that too, but I saw that recently. Yeah. Go ahead.
Fatty liver, and people with sleep apnea. It's FDA approved for that. I mean, even renal disease. Yeah. If it's accompanied with type 2 diabetes. And I just believe we're at the very tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I love this. I love this conversation. So thank you so much for having this conversation. And for incorporating it into how you now support your women in their 40s. So again, that's always I didn't get it. I knew it theoretically.
Yeah.
That what happens, theoretically. But I tell you, like when I hit 48, I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? 49. Wait a minute, what's going on? I just turned 50 last month. And I'm like, hold on, wait. I've heard of these things theoretically, but now I can actually see, like I'm doing all the things, but yet, I've got this belly going. I'm like, I have never had this belly. What is going on?
Right.
Yeah, I started to get a little indignant about the whole thing.
Oh my gosh. It is unbelievable. Truly when it starts happening, because the dogma that it's calories in, calories out for every perimenopause and menopausal woman.
It makes you want to choke somebody. It's like, don't say that ever again. Cause it's just, it's, and not that, so I'll say it like this, it's incomplete. So it's not that it's like, not correct, but it doesn't help when there's so many other pieces of the puzzle being left unaddressed.
It's a really good way of putting it. Yes.
Yeah.
Incomplete.
Yeah. Incomplete. So, all right. So let's see. We've talked about metabolic. We talked about insulin resistance and how peptides particularly can help with insulin resistance, overall metabolic health. We talked about the cardiovascular improvements that we see. Talk about the gut health improvements that we see. Talk about the weight loss improvements that we see. Just to give them a little sneak peek, because I know that you're a little bit more well versed in this than I am. But what are some other types of peptides? Because we've talked a lot about GLP-1s, which they're fabulous and magical. But what are some other peptides?
Absolutely. So a few of the other ones that I know more about would be like, we do have a category, they're called growth hormone secretagogues, which means, we know that if someone is given growth hormone, they can really build a lot of muscle and have a lot of muscle preservation, and have a lot of other positive effects. But growth hormone itself can also be dangerous if you just give growth hormone in its native form. The peptides that we have that are called either sermorelin, or we have another one called tesamorelin and ipamorelin, which is a combo. These peptides signal our body to make our own growth hormone.
Love that.
So that, which is very helpful to people over 50 and above, because we are making less and less and less growth hormone as we age, and which makes it very hard to build and maintain lean muscle mass, and just recovery and rejuvenation in general. And so these peptides have different specific effects. The tesamorelin and ipamorelin combo actually has a great targeting of visceral fat. And tesamorelin has been FDA approved for visceral fat targeting, whereas people can lose up to 20% of visceral fat. And
awesome.
As we know, visceral fat is very dangerous. It's bioactive. It's releasing all kinds of inflammatory cytokines.
Yep.
And so anything we can do to reduce belly fat like that is great. So people are often stacking, if they're on a GLP-1, and they don't have to be on a GLP-1, but a lot of people start at a GLP-1 because it's sort of entry level, and then add on something that is going to enhance another aspect. So I have a lot of clients that have added on the tesamorelin, ipamorelin, so that now that they are really pushing their protein intake and doing a lot of resistance training, the growth hormone secretagogues are now helping them build and retain that lean muscle mass, which is as they age. It's just harder to do as we're older, and we see people really feeling the benefits, physical benefits of being on these. Sermorelin was the first one that the concierge service that I work with had, and now they've added on the tesamorelin, ipamorelin, which is sort of like the next level. Yeah. And we do kind of consider it as like a fundamental wellness and longevity peptide. So it's not, we don't think of it as a weight loss peptide, or we're thinking of it as just keeping our body robust and healthy and strong.
And that's what we mean. Listen, Isn't that what we all want?
Absolutely.
Particularly as we continue to advance in age. I don't want to say as we age, but as we increase in our years on this earth, we want to continue to get strong and build and retain that muscle. And in fact, it's not just important, it's necessary.
Absolutely
Necessary. Yeah.
I mean, as we look forward, any of us, if we're over 50, or if you're helping clients that are over 50 and above, you have to ask that fundamental question of what is it that you want to be doing at age 60, 70, 80, and 90.
Yeah.
And so whatever that level of activity is and level of cognitive ability is, we need to be pushing ourselves as high as we possibly can, because at some point we are just going to decrease.
It's true.
So the higher we start out, the better, because we're in fact, I'm 55. I'm probably already decreasing. So every week.
You look phenomenal. Let me just say, I saw a picture the other day. I'm like, oh my God, look at her guns. Like, your arms, girl.
Thank you.
You are doing the work.
Those GLP-1s helped.
Yes, for sure. And then NAD. I know you talk about Somorelin, Tesamorelin, and Ipamorelin, but
the NAD for energy.
Yeah.
I have not used it yet. I see so many testimonials of that feeling of fantastic energy, just feeling peppier, lighter on your feet, not having to wake up feeling old, right?
Right. Oh my gosh.
Feeling like you're ready for your day. So NAD has been a game changer for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We also have glutathione, which is our master detoxification peptide. So people that really know that they have issues with detox, maybe things that they want to optimize, things that are happening with their liver. This is a great one to add on, and just really help us clean out our system as we're optimizing our metabolism with other things.
Absolutely. Because again, it's our body works it doesn't work in a silo. Everything is connected. Everything works together. So it just makes sense. So, man, Dawn, this has been such a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I know that you have something really fun as a gift for our listening audience. Would you like to share what that is? And I'll make sure that the team links it down below in the show notes. But you want to share what that little gift is?
Yeah. Well, I have a document. It's why GLP-1s are different than traditional pharmaceuticals, I think is the title. And it really kind of summarizes what Charyse and I talked about. And I really wanted to be able to put it down in a document so that people could go back to it and truly dive in and try to understand it. Because when I first started learning what peptides were and how they worked, even as a nurse, it was a little bit foreign to me, and like kind of going, are you sure about that?
Right.
And then if any of this really resonated with some listeners, but they really want to give it to a loved one, it's so hard to translate this information if you don't truly understand it. And so I hope you grab that document, and it explains how, they work, especially we're talking GLP-1s, but it could translate to other peptides as well, the way they actually work. And at the end, there's also information on how you could work with me if you wanted to.
Lovely. Love that. Like I said, we'll have the team link up below. And so this has been so good. I always like to end my podcast episodes with a little bit of rapid fire. So you up for it? Just a little fun, couple quick questions. All right. So let's do it. So tell me, Dawn, who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Well, I think I would have to say, to be honest with you, I wasn't very much into music, which I'm like a unicorn, because all the teenagers were into music. But I remember loving Andy Gibb.
Andy Gibb, yes. The Gibb brothers. Let's just go there.
Yes. Yeah. And now I have a whole new respect for them with their voice, their talent. But really, back then, I wasn't really thinking about the voice. I just
They're just cuties.
Too cute. Too cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. If you were stuck on a deserted island, what's the one thing that you like is a non-negotiable? You absolutely have to have it.
Oh my gosh. On a deserted island. Well, I guess this is going to sound weird, but I got to have my husband there.
No, that does not sound weird.
Yeah.
At all.
He's a big problem solver for me. So he'd probably figure out how to get off of that island.
I'm with you. I used to always say like gloss because I do not like my lips to be dry at all.
Oh.
But honestly, my husband would be a lot more helpful than gloss. I'm just saying. He would find us food, shelter.
Right.
My husband's a big problem solver as well. So I totally get that. Oh my goodness. Okay. What's the best compliment you've ever gotten?
Well, I think it's when it comes to the things that I do professionally, but also I think personally is listening and being present. And, that is not something like even all nurses have time to do sometimes, but even though we want to,
right.
and I would have to say that it's something I work on too. Mm-hmm. So it's not just something that I am like born with or anything, but it's something that, we really need to really make impacts with people.
Yeah.
Is to really do a lot more listening.
Yeah.
Than talking.
I agree.
And that's usually.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just usually where we can find our solutions.
It's so true. I've heard it so many times. I've heard it said so many times. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen more.
100%.
But it definitely is a skill that can, and in my professional opinion, should be really honed in on like active listening for sure.
100%.
Particularly in the line of work that we do, helping people with their health, helping them people optimize their health. Absolutely. Yes. So listening is key. So I love that. What would you say is maybe the biggest risk you've ever taken?
It's a hard one, Charyse.
Well, I was going to offer some things, but I don't want to offer anything. I'd rather just, I don't want to leave the.
Yeah. Let me think for a second. Yeah. Well, I would say, gosh, just deciding to leave nursing and do my own thing was a big risk. And to be honest, it is not easy. It is not easy being out on your own, doing what we do. And if I have people listening to this that are trying to do the same thing, I am right there with you. But it's a big risk for me because I'm not doing nursing, but I don't know. That's what I got, Charyse.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, let me just tell you, I would agree. Like entrepreneurship, doing something different than having a traditional job. For some people, that might see that as a risk. But I tell you, entrepreneurship it's very rewarding. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years. At this point in my life, I've been an entrepreneur longer than I've actually been a nurse. I still have my license, wow. But in terms of practicing nursing, I have been in business for myself longer than I ever practiced nursing. I was at the bedside for 13 years in the ICU, but, and it's so rewarding and so fulfilling. And it can also be isolating because you're working by yourself. Yeah. With other people, but still you're by yourself, right? And let me tell you, you are talk about personal growth. You will grow so much in entrepreneurship. So many things will be uncovered that you didn't even know were there as you are building your business. It will stretch you. It will stretch you in so many different ways, in a beautiful way. In a beautiful way. Yeah, in a beautiful way, nonetheless. But yeah. Okay, last question. What would you say is a guilty pleasure? One of your guilty pleasures?
Oh, definitely frozen custard.
Ooh, what flavor?
My favorite. And I never hardly eat it now. But
what? I don't know if that I've ever even had flavored custard. Oh. What? So what brand? What brand? What flavor?
Oh, flavors. Anything with chocolate and maybe a little fruit in there or caramel or, and
Sounds
chocolate covered caramels. That's my other guilty pleasure.
gotcha.
I absolutely love that. But I'm telling you, since I started the GLP-1, I don't even want it anymore. It's so strange.
The cravings, right?
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, which
But
is
yes,
the great thing. Yeah.
Yeah, if I
love
wanted
that.
to just really indulge, that's where I would go.
Well, you haven't had chocolate, so.
Yeah. And frozen custard, like here in Wisconsin, we have several different places that make it, and it's just like the creamiest ice cream. It's just like silk.
I don't think I've ever had frozen custard. Now I've got to go look for some.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh. Well, this has been a joy, just a pure joy, just sharing space with you. I want to thank you for your time, for your energy, for your brilliance, and for all that you've shared with us here today. So thank you, Dawn.
Thank you so much for having me, Charyse. I really appreciate it.
You are very welcome. And to those that are listening, as always, I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you next time on another episode of the Charyse Williams Show. Bye for now.